This is my scrapbook, full of special photos of my longtime Island of Sodor friends, and my 6 new friends that just recently joined us on the island. First, you'll get to see all the fun I've had through the years with the engines that you are familiar with. Next, you can get acquainted with our new friends and watch scenes from their first days here on the Island of Sodor. To open my scrapbook and flip the pages forward, simply hit Enter or Select on your controller. If you'd like to turn back a page, press the left arrow key on your controller. I hope you enjoy my scrapbook. Bertie is a friendly bus who has a firm friendship with Thomas, especially after their great race. Select the bottom photo and press Enter if you want to find out who was the winner of Thomas and Bertie's great race.
We've done it! We've done it! Panted Thomas. We've done it! Hooray! We've done it! Hooray! Chanted Annie and Clarabelle as they whooshed into the last station. Everyone was there to celebrate Thomas's victory, but they gave Bertie a big welcome too. Well done, Thomas, said Bertie. That was fun. But to beat you over that hill, I should have to grow wings and be an aeroplane.
Bill and Ben are twin engines and identical in every way. They like playing jokes on other engines, but will also help out when needed. In fact, once they helped save some workers from a destructive rock slide. The workers called them heroes. Would you? Select the bottom photo and press Enter to decide for yourself.
They were just puffing out of the quarry when, "Help! Wait for me!" A workman had been left behind. Ben waited as the man climbed quickly aboard. The twins left the quarry just in time.
Bulgy is a bad-tempered double-decker bus who's out to close down the rails and free the roads. He knows how to tell a lie to try to get out of a jam, but it always backfires on him. In fact, I've made sure that Bulgy can no longer cause any more problems. Would you like to see how? Select the bottom photo and press Enter to see what Bulgy's doing now.
The bridge is now mended, but not unfortunately Bulgy and his ways. He never learned sense. He's a hen house now, and his lies can do no harm. The hens never listen to them anyway.
Bulstrode is an old, bad-tempered, sea-going barge who's happiest when he's rude to the engines. But I put a stop to that. Now even Bulstrode is really useful. Find out how by selecting the bottom photo and pressing Enter.
Percy watched as Bulstrode was towed to the beach.
"There you are," said the workman. "Now you can just stay here. Children can play in you all day, and at long last, you'll be useful."
Carlin is a mild-mannered auto who is happiest traveling at a slow pace and driving through the countryside. In fact, she often breaks down if she's pushed to drive too quickly. Once, I needed her help to get to Lady Hatt's birthday party and, well, select the bottom photo and press Enter to see what happened. I have to attend my wife's birthday party and I cannot be late. Please give me a lift.
I'll try, sir.
But
Caroline didn't like going fast.
I'm hot! My engine will overheat!
And it did.
Told you so,
said Caroline sadly.
Bother, bother. Cranky is a crane with a high and mighty attitude that annoys the other engines. He knows that if he ever gets too big for his crane hook, the engines have ways of getting back at him. How, you may ask? Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out.
And it wasn't too long before Cranky was upright again and clearing the wreckage. At last, all the engines were free.
"Oh, thank you," said Gordon. "What would I have done without you?"
"Well, I had to be rescued before I could help you. But I never thought it would be by a couple of Cranky was about to say bugs, but he quickly corrected himself. Small engines, thank you. I'll never be rude again. However, you two mites are in my way, so move over." "Pa," said Percy, "he's back to bugging us." "Don't move! You're still attached to Cranky!" But it was too late.
Daisy is a highly strung diesel engine who sometimes feels she's too good to carry anything except passengers. She also claims that she's not afraid of anything, but I don't believe her. Do you? Select the bottom photo and press enter to see for yourself.
Said Champion. "Ooh, oh," murmured Daisy. "Why doesn't he run away?" "Go on, Daisy," said her driver. "He's harmless." "Yes," said Daisy unhappily. "You know he's harmless, and I know he's harmless. But does he know? Look at his horns. If I bumped into him, he might hurt them. The farmer wouldn't like that." Champion sniffed at Daisy. "Ooh," said Daisy. And that was that. Daisy did no more.
Donald and Douglas are Scottish twins who love to play jokes on everyone else. When they first came to my railway, they liked to cause trouble by confusing everyone as to which engine was which. But I solved that problem by, well, select the bottom photo and press enter to find out what I did.
Donald and Douglas, I hear that your work in the snow was good. You shall have a new coat of paint. The twins were surprised. Thank you, sir. But your names will be painted on you. We'll have no more mistakes. Thank you, sir. Does this mean the both of us? Sir Topham Hatt smiled. It means, but the rest of his speech was drowned in a delighted chorus of cheers and whistles. The twins were here to stay.
Duck is a cheerful and busy little engine who comes from the Great Western Railroad. He likes to prove how useful smaller engines can be, which sometimes leads him into trouble. In fact, I seem to remember a time the Duck had a very funny run-in with our local barber. It still makes me laugh. And if you select the bottom photo and press enter, I think you'll get a chuckle out of it as well.
Too late, Duck groaned and shut his eyes. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly cars had knocked their conductor off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled a warning. But the cars didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. "Beg pardon, sir," gasped Duck. "Excuse my intrusion." "No, I won't," said the barber. "You frighten my customers. I'll teach you." and he lathered Duck's face all over.
Edward is one of the older engines in my railway, who likes to help me out when the other engines misbehave. Although some of the engines think he's too old to help out, I still know that he's really useful. If you select the bottom photo and press enter, you think he's really useful too.
I'm ready, said Edward. No good, grumbled Gordon. They pulled and pushed as hard as they could. I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, puffed Gordon. I will do it, I will do it, I will do it, puffed Edward. Edward pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever he could. And almost before he realized it, Gordon found himself at the top of the hill. I've done it, I've done it, I've done it, he said proudly. He forgot all about kind Edward and didn't say thank you. Edward was left out of breath and far behind, but he was happy because he had been so helpful. At the next station, he found that the driver and fireman were very pleased with him.
George is a grumpy steamroller who is no friend to the engines on my railway. He likes to cause trouble, and often does when he's careless and paves over things he's not supposed to. Select the bottom photo and press enter to see some of the problems he causes when he doesn't follow my instructions.
I'll show him who's boss! At last, the workmen reached the level crossing. What shall we do here? Tear it up, tarmac it, said George. So they did, but not properly, and George knew it. Later, Thomas was traveling home on the same line. He was pulling freight cars filled with vegetables. The signalman had forgotten to warn his driver about the crossing. That's nice, we don't need to stop, said Thomas happily. Yes, we do, called his driver. But it was too late.
Gordon is the senior member of my engine family, the fastest and strongest, and he knows it. He has a good heart, but sometimes takes on jobs that are even too big for him. Select the bottom photo, and I think you'll understand what I mean.
Then there was trouble. As Gordon approached the new station, neither the driver nor fireman could apply his brakes. Something had jammed. The driver reduced steam, but Gordon was still going too fast.
Help me, please.
In a railway family, Harold can hardly avoid having a high profile. He brings a welcome spot of dash to the quiet landscape whenever he appears, and it's often Harold I turn to when I need help from the skies. Why, he even helped out Percy one time when Percy decided to take a swim. Select the bottom photo and press enter to see for yourself.
Soon Percy's fire was burning well. He felt warm and comfortable again. Then he saw Harold. Oh dear, thought Percy. Harold's come to laugh at me. Something thudded onto Percy's boiler. Ow! Exclaimed Percy. He needn't throw things. It's a parachute, laughed his driver. Harold's dropping hot drinks for us. Thank you, Harold, whistled Percy.
Good to be of service,
Replied Harold and buzzed away.
Henry is is a long, fast engine with a thoroughbred look, and like all thoroughbreds, Henry tends to be highly strung and prone to illness. Henry especially doesn't like to get wet, and will even avoid jobs if it means going out in the rain. Why, I even remember a time when Henry hid in a tunnel to avoid getting wet. Would you do that? Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out what happened to Henry.
Fog floated everywhere. "I can't see," cried Henry, nor could his driver. And when he could, it was too late.
James is a medium-sized engine who likes to think of himself as a really splendid engine. He often boasts about his brass dome and scarlet paint. But I remember a time when it wasn't just James's paint that was red. Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out why we once called him James the Red-Nosed Engine.
James heard a familiar buzzing. The bees were too cold to be cross, so they buzzed around the fireman, hoping he'd mend their hive. But he didn't understand, nor did his driver, so the bees turned to James. His boiler was nice and warm. Buzz off, hissed James. One bee burnt his foot. Ooh, ooh. The bee thought James had burnt him on purpose. So it stung James right back on the nose. Eee! Whistled James. He had had enough. So had his fireman and driver.
Mavis is a feisty young diesel engine who works at the quarry. She's full of her own ideas and doesn't take kindly to advice. At first, she and Toby did not get along, but that soon changed. Would you like to know how? Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out.
Toby stopped, still on the rails, but with his wheels treading the tightrope over the abyss. Mavis was horrified and quickly came to the rescue. Workmen anchored Toby with ropes while she pulled the freight cars away. Then she helped Toby to safety. "I'm sorry about the cars," said Mavis. "I can't think how you managed to stop them in time." "Oh, well," said Toby, "my driver told me about circus people who walk tightropes, but I just didn't fancy doing it myself." Later, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "A very smart piece of work," he said.
Percy is the junior member of my principal team of engines. He's a hard worker and likes to prove that even little engines can do big things. Here's a picture that shows what a useful and reliable engine Percy is. Remember when he helped to save Mrs. Kindly's daughter's wedding? Select the bottom photo and press enter to see how he saved the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the good luck package. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. All found by Percy and his crew. The engines whistled and everyone cheered. "Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Percy," said the bride. "It's the best good luck package ever." And she kissed Percy. Thomas laughed as Percy blushed bright red.
Sam is a happy and kind engine who is a hard worker and never grumbles about late hours of extra work. In fact, he'll even sing now and then while he's on the job. Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out what he sings about.
Peter Sam puffed happily away, singing a little song. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. What fun it all is, he thought, as he journeyed along the line.
Rusty is a self-assured and dedicated worker with a huge heart. He loves adventure, or at least some adventures. Here's a photo of when Rusty had a close encounter with a boulder. Select the bottom photo and press enter to see what happened.
It's rolling along our line. We'll stop here until Boulder passes by, said the driver. But Boulder was nowhere to be seen. Then, oh no, it's behind us! Just ahead, they saw a small junction. One line went uphill. Boulder thundered past.
Terrence is an honest and hard-working tractor who has often been the subject of teasing from the engines because of his caterpillar wheels. But just ask Thomas how useful Terrence's wheels are, or select the bottom photo and press enter to find out yourself.
Thomas's wheels were clear but still spun when he tried to move. Terence tugged and slipped and slipped and tugged, and at last dragged Thomas clear of the snow, ready for the journey home.
Thomas is a cheeky, fussy engine who often gets into scrapes by being overeager to do things best left to bigger and more sensible engines. Why, here's one of my favorite pictures of Thomas. There he is getting into trouble again. Select the bottom photo and press enter to find out what happened.
Danger lay ahead. Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. Bust my buffers, muttered Thomas. The day started so well, too.
Toby is an old-fashioned engine, both in looks and outlook. He was once nearly saved from scrap, so is now eager to do any job, no matter how dangerous. For this, the engines consider him very brave. In fact, here is a photo where Toby nearly met disaster after a devastating flood. Select the bottom photo and press enter to see what happened. Called Toby. Trevor Trevor is an old tractor who enjoys dozing in the sun, but dislikes being left outside for too long. He loves to show that he's still capable of a good day's work, but most of all, loves to take children on rides all around the farm. As a matter of fact, if you select the bottom photo and press enter, you'll get to see Trevor at his best.
Now Trevor's home is in the vicarage orchard, and he sees Edward every day. His paint is spotless and his brass shines like gold. Trevor likes his work, but his happiest day is the church fair. With a wooden seat bolted to his bunker, he chuffers round the orchard, giving rides to children.
Spencer is just about the shiniest, sleekest engine the island of Sodor has ever seen. A striking silver express engine, Spencer was brought to the island as the private engine of the visiting Duke and Duchess. Sometimes, though, he can be a bit too sure of himself, like the time when Gordon warned him to take plenty of water along with him on a long trip, and Spencer felt he was too good to abide. Click on the photo below to see what happened.
Gordon was looking forward to seeing Spencer.
Run out of water?
He teased. Yes, snapped Spencer. I must have a leaky tank.
Perhaps,
Smiled Gordon.
but we better hurry. Everyone is waiting.
Gordon switched to Spencer's line and was coupled up. Then they set off.
Emily is a beautiful engine with shiny paintwork and gleaming brass fittings. See how I reward Emily when she rescues Oliver from a close encounter with Thomas.
Pushed him across the tracks. Just in time. Thanks. We did it. Later, Sir Topham Hatt praised Emily.
Well done. You were a very brave engine.
The bravest, chuffed Oliver.
It gives me great pleasure to present you with 2 new coaches.
Thank you, sir, replied Emily.
Arthur is a big new tank engine whose job it is to shunt trucks and pull freight. He's as excited to work for me as he is proud of his famous spotless record. See what happens when Thomas tricked Arthur into almost losing that record, and Arthur ended up in a very sticky situation.
You can't catch us! Laughed the troublesome trucks. But there was trouble ahead. Duck had stopped at the crossing at the bottom of the hill. Arthur's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Squashed fruit flew everywhere. Arthur was upset. His spotless record was ruined.
Murdoch is a mighty engine with 10 drive wheels. He was brought to the island to help with the heavy workload and pull freight on the main line. As shy as he is strong, Murdoch can often be found seeking peace and quiet, though sometimes in his pursuit he runs into noisier times. Click on the photo below to see what type of trouble Murdoch finds on the tracks.
Please stop, groaned Murdoch. I'd rather be back with the chatterbox engines.
Just then, Toby chuffed into view.
Toby! exclaimed Murdoch. We're certainly glad to see you.
Before long, the farmer and his dog went to work. And the sheep were soon safely in their field. And Murdoch was on his way again.
Jack is the friendliest front loader the island has ever seen. Jack loves his job so much and is so eager to please that he often takes on tasks he probably shouldn't. Sometimes he's had to be reminded of the quarry motto, safety first.
Then the foreman shouted, "Oliver, move this rock!" "I'll do it," cried Jack. Jack scooped a bucket full of rock. "Stop!" shouted his oiler. But he didn't stop. He was too eager to help. "No!" shouted Isabella. But it was too late. "Oh no!" he cried. "Whoops!"
Alfie is an excavator who makes even the toughest job in the quarry look easy. He's friendly, helpful, and loves to do all the dirty work. In fact, his favorite expression is, "More dirt means more fun." Click on the photo below to see when Alfie meets Jack for the first time after a close encounter with Max.
Jack and Alfie were working hard and having wonderful fun. Suddenly, a huge dump truck roared by. "Max!" Alfie cried. "So that's Max," said Jack. "Thomas was right. He is trouble." "Look out, Jack!" cried Alfie. Max stopped just in time. Jack refused to move. "Stop bullying," said Jack bravely. "Can't you take a joke?" Max grumbled and dieseled away. "Thank you, Jack," said Alfie.
Thank you for viewing my scrapbook. It's been a pleasure to share stories about my friends on the island of Sodor with you. Please be sure to come back again soon.